Jason. Thanks for your help getting here. Cheryl Claire over at Smart Zone, friends with her over in Dollar Bay. She kind of mentioned this to me a little while back. I didn't know much about it, and then she kind of talked me into it over the winter, reaching out. So thank you, appreciate it. A little bit about me to start off. I grew up downstate outside of Ann Arbor, so I'm a Michigander, but not a native Yooper, but I'm working there. Some of my friends, Dave Mackey, I've been trying to earn my Yooper card from guys like that, so I'm on my way. So, 2000, I joined the Coast Guard and traveled around the country from Alaska to Florida, Virginia to Idaho, believe it or not. I was sentenced there. They said I had a gift of gab, so I was signed to a recruiting tour, and I was a recruiter in charge over in Idaho for a little bit. So Idaho was an awesome break from the coast, so really cool. So fast forward 20 years, moving around, was assigned here. I actually picked this as my #1 unit, approaching my 20-year mark, where I knew I had that opportunity to retire. And I said, I want to retire in a nice place. I've been here as a child on vacation, so I remembered it vaguely. And I said, I'd like to go there. Lo and behold, it's not a very popular choice for anybody outside of the area, so I got my #1 pick. Believe it or not, folks from the South, they think it's the frozen tundra here 365 days a year. They do. So I just let them say, you're exactly right. You don't want to go there. Save it for us that know better, right? So anyway, I ended up here, the command position at the station, and as we kind of knew, we ended up really growing fond of the area. Love the outdoors. I love the water, obviously. And we didn't want to move my 2 teenage daughters again and move them out of school again for maybe one more tour somewhere else. So they go to Dollar Bay High School over there, or one of them graduated. She's at University of Michigan now. She just completed her 2nd year. So she's home being a 20-year-old now and passing her knowledge on to the 17-year-old. So didn't want to move, said I'm retiring, this is it, this is where I'm going to stay. So here I am. With about 2 years left at my station, at the station there, I was wondering what I was going to do after retirement in this area for a guy that's pretty much a boat guy, really, right? I love boats, I love being on the water, and I love talking to people, right? So I kind of noticed on the Coast Guard boats and stopping and talking to people and traveling around the area, there really wasn't anything like this. A boat tour of the waterway to the canal and outside the canal and stuff like that. We have our fishing charters. We have a couple guys that do things north, go to Standard Rock and stuff like that. But there wasn't anything like this. So I started asking people around town, people I know, friends, people I don't know. I had my tires changed at the tire shop, and I'm asking a guy like, hey, what do you think of this? And everyone's like, that'd be really, really cool. I said, all right, cool, I think I got it. So my wife was not into this at first. She's like, no, and I said, just trust me here. Like, trust me, we'll be all right, it'll be fine. So I actually officially opened in the fall of 21. I got late, it was September or something like that, when I finally got all the DNR certification processes done with the boats and all that kind of stuff. So I had a couple of trips for the fall colors, and that was really about it. I had no marketing, no nothing. I think I just thrown together a website that was crap, right? So I did all this myself. I'm not a computer guy, I'm not an internet guy, I'm not a social media guy. Ask Katie, she left already, but I'm not a social media guy. I don't know how to add and hashtag people and places, but I'm learning. So I started listening to a bunch of podcasts, talking to people like Dan Yoder, on what's your take, how do I do this? And if I can get my teenage girls to Snapchat, is it? Whatever, Snap tweet I call it, about my business or whatever, that'd be great. But they're busy like talking to the boys or whatever instead. So I tried. Anyway, so what I do is I started with the pontoon, 24-foot pontoon, like I said, in the fall of 21. Last year summer was really my first official season. Developed a website, I keep tweaking it, it's getting better and better, I think. And I'm found basically via generic Google searches, 95% of my customers, and Google Maps too. So, where are we at here? Okay, so I had last year, I started with 2 trips, both of them departing from Bridgeview Park, right next to the bridge here. So I picked people up there, and they choose either the Jacobs of Lighthouse and Sandstone Cliff tour, which is down south out the south entrance, and then bang a left or head north, and there's the lighthouse and the cliffs. I talk a little about the history of the waterway, the shipping, how it was dredged, and why, and when, and that kind of stuff. I stop at the Coast Guard station. I talk about that a little bit. Just kind of little things along the way. The Great Lakes Research Center I talk about a little bit. I did work there actually for a couple of years here before I retired. And the other trip is a sunset tour. Who doesn't like a sunset on the water? And I got to remember, like, this is a lot of common stuff for me. I've done this hundreds of times, but people that are coming up, my little research over the winter, my guests were from Detroit and Chicago, pretty much, and then sprinkle in some locals here and there that don't get on the water. So the sunset trip, people are in awe over, right? The sunsets over Lake Superior, where you get something where it's nice and there's maybe a couple clouds mixed in or whatever, they love it. The lighthouse and cliffs tour is the same way. People don't see this kind of stuff. You see bald eagles flying, bald eagles sitting in the tree. I had a guy that was just, he about fell overboard at the sight of a bald eagle, like from Chicago, right? He was just like, oh my God, and they're taking pictures. I got binoculars on the boat and stuff, and just, can we wait here? And the eagle took off and flew, and he was just beside himself over it. So this kind of stuff is really, 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 we take it, for advantage every day. You see this kind of stuff. These people don't. So I really got the sense that people do like this, right? This is something that's really cool that they enjoy. So last year, I think what I ended up booking was about 110 trips last year. I was involved with the Viking Octantis, the Viking cruise lines. The group that put that together, the shore excursions, reached out to me actually last winter, so I did do those. It was kind of hit or miss with them. As you guys know, the weather kind of stopped them from coming, but nearly half the days they were scheduled. So they were a little bit of more of a pain, to be honest with you, to work with, and I probably would have booked those days anyway if they were nice. So what I decided to do is I started talking around with some friends. What I needed was, I thought, another boat, another captain. The captain is the hard part around here. I do have a neighbor of mine who has a captain's license coming in the mail now, actually. He's a big fisherman type guy. He's gonna help out a little bit. I had a local guy too that's a commercial airline pilot that's really, really interested in it and was doing it. And then his wife fell on some tough, she was diagnosed with cancer recently. So I told him not to worry about this, take care of that and everything, and we'll talk later. But given that I thought that it was such a big hit last year, I honestly thought, when I was asked how many trips, what would be a success, I thought maybe 3 trips a week, for the first year without any kind of marketing. I thought, that'd be good with me, I'd be good with that. I ended up with about 4.5 average from May 15th to October 15th. Nice. So that was pretty good. Some weeks I had 9 or 10 trips, some weeks I had 1 or 2, which was great. So I could do yard work still and maintain the boats and that kind of stuff. So what I did this year too is I added what I call a Keweenaw adventure trip. So this is a little bit up there. This departs Lac La Belle, heads out to Keweenaw Bay, goes north up to Keystone Bay along the tip of the peninsula there and back. So you pass Montreal Falls, and of course you get the scenic Lac La Belle trip in it too. A little bit higher price point to try to gauge how many people are interested in more of this. And I included a new boat. So I have a 25-foot Maxim cabin cruiser that I just picked up. The DNR is going to be inspected actually Saturday, the first round of inspection. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, we'll see. So right now, I got part-time captain or 2 maybe. It's gonna be mostly me. So people got to basically choose a trip. They choose a Jacobsville Lighthouse 1 p.m. trip on a Wednesday, whatever. Then I just close the rest of the day on Wednesday. Well, everything after that anyway. There's some location, shows you where it goes. So right, so obviously this is downtown. I pick people up. The Jacobsville Lighthouse trip is going down this way, and the cliffs are about a mile stretch maybe after the lighthouse there to the north, and obviously the sunset. We come right up here. I bang a left. There's actually, right now it's probably beautiful with water flowing over the cliffs over there. There's a waterfall over here that's really cool. There's a photo of it on my website. And there on the left, you'll see that's kind of the track line for the Keweenaw adventure trip, and that's a stock image of the same boat but not my boat. Yeah, so there's the 2 boats. You'll see my the pontoon here has a banner on. This was my marketing to start, right? A little bit learning social media, And I would go about an hour early before my trips were scheduled, and I'd just set the boat up and I put this banner up. And at first I wasn't doing it. I was like, whatever. My wife said, well, put it up, put it up. So every time I pull up to that dock, I have somebody that asks me about it, right? And I probably got at least a handful of bookings just for putting that banner up on the side of the boat. Now that's my old logo on there. It's my original attempt. So I kind of rebranding a little bit here. I actually had a buddy that